So let's talk about toothbrushes then. When is it time? We have the electronic toothbrush that I bought, from you directly for your recommendation. And then, my husband still uses the handheld. So and I just actually looked at his the other day. I'm like, Dr. Perry would not be happy with the way this toothbrush looks. So I threw it in the garbage, put a new one in because I had just come to see you. So the one that you gave me, I put in his little receptacle. And he came in, what happened to my toothbrush? I'm like, it is time for a new toothbrush. So looking at a toothbrush, can we tell by looking at it, or should we go by a calendar to replace the head on the electric one, or to replace the handheld?
That's a good question because it's going to depend on its use and, how hard you're brushing and the nature of the mouth and there's a lot of factors. But I would say, you should be able to look at it and see if the bristles are bent. I know some companies have indicator bristles that have, like, some of the bristles are colored blue. I think.
Yeah.
And if that's more than half gone, like the color is gone.
Oh, that's smart.
And that'll indicate it's time to replace it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
So going back to this, what I've learned from you over the years, so we've talked about floss, toothbrush. Let's talk about toothpaste, because there are, you go to any toothpaste aisle in any grocery store,
right,
and there have to be 200 or more different types of toothpaste, with fluoride, without fluoride, whitening, sensitive, on and on and on and on.
Yep.
So what is a smart way to choose your toothpaste?
Okay, so teeth are made out of a compound called hydroxyapatite. So that's the buzzword right now with toothpaste.
Hydroxyapatite?
Hydroxyapatite describes calcium phosphate. So calcium phosphate in a very organized crystalline structure, and they call it hydroxyapatite. It defines the combination of calcium and phosphate. This is the glass that your teeth are made out of. So
our teeth are made of glass.
A type of glass. Glass describes, like, for instance, the glass on your car window, or at a window, a clear window would be silica.
Right. Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So they just melt sand to create silica. And so silica molecules are organized so well that they're clear. So enamel, if you were to extract enamel, it would actually be translucent.
Wow.
Just like a window. But that's only the first, or the outside 1.5 millimeters. Sometimes on back teeth, it can be 2 millimeters, maybe even 2.5 at the cusp tip. So enamel can be fairly thick, and in a microscope.
On our molars?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the front teeth, it's thinner, and it's made of hydroxyapatite, the outer surface, the enamel.
Okay.
I call it the chocolate layer, because I described teeth like M&Ms.
Yes, right.
That's dentin, which is different. Okay. That's similar to a bone, but it's a little bit different than bone.
Is this a peanut M&M where the peanut is the bone?
Well, the peanut would be the blood vessel, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we pause there and talk about M&Ms for a second, and then get back to the toothpaste?
You bet.
So, because I love this, this is one of the many ways that you have helped me learn things, is by your excellent metaphors. You use metaphors brilliantly to help, like, the non-dental mind understand what's going on in the mouth. So, and M&Ms was one of those. So, yes, please continue on the M&Ms. And what color M&Ms are we using here today for the metaphor?
There's always some excellent teacher that I've learned from. Jeff Gray from the Coy Center helped me use the M&M analogy. I got to give credit to him.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
But yeah, what I say for people that have erosion, or like a piece, maybe their gum has receded above, like their teeth used to be wearing a turtleneck, and now they're wearing a V-neck sweater, right?
Yes.
That's the long in the tooth thing. Like the whole phrase "long in the tooth" doesn't mean the teeth have gotten longer, but the gums have become shorter.
I have some V-necks in my mouth, unfortunately. Yeah,
exactly.
It's sad.
So now the teeth are cold, right? They're like shivering because they're exposed. They got the V-neck. They want a turtleneck.
Yes.
Right. Especially when they go to Switzerland, they're like, "Wow, I need a turtleneck now," right? Yeah, so I tell people that the chocolate is showing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the chocolate is showing because the enamel on the outside of the M&M
exactly
is gone.
Well, the enamel ends, and then above the
Yes.
enamel is the chocolate layer.
Right.
Or on lower teeth, you would say, like below the enamel,
yes,
the chocolate would be showing.
Right, the chocolate is showing, yes.
Most of the erosion, they used to call it abfraction, and recently it changed to non-carious cervical lesion.
Oh my gosh, that's a big word.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank
I like
you
M&Ms.
to whoever changed that. Right. But it's those little notches on, usually people notice them on the upper side teeth. Mm-hmm. And
I feel them.
Yep,
I feel
so
it.
that's called, that's like the chocolate showing right there of your tooth. So that can become sensitive. And if it's symptomatic, like if it's sensitive, then there's options. It can be sealed or covered.
Oh, it can? Really?
Yep.
Okay. So let's get back to toothpaste, and then I want to go to that because I want to learn more about the erosion.
Now, the toothpaste can actually help with those areas.
Oh, it can?
Yeah, you can treat those in a natural way with toothpaste by remineralizing that chocolate layer.
All right. What toothpaste would help do that, and how to use the toothpaste? Because there's something about, I remember that you said about rinsing after we brush our teeth versus not.
I think the most important thing is that we don't rinse.
We don't rinse. See, this was news to me, and it's such a habit to rinse out the toothpaste out of my mouth.
Yeah, and most people don't learn what to do after they brush their teeth, right? They just see their older brother or their older sister do it, and they think that that's the way you should do it. But they haven't had a really in-depth discussion about it. And everyone has different challenges. I would say that it's okay to rinse after brushing if you don't have problems with cavities.
Okay.
But if you have tooth sensitivity or cavities, kind of like...
Or recession,
that's a spectrum, and everyone's somewhere on that spectrum, then not rinsing with water after you just want that hydroxyapatite in the toothpaste to soak into the teeth.
Okay. So when we're looking for a toothpaste, especially those of us who are on the spectrum, then we need to look for that ingredient on the label?
Well, I think that, how like some types of magnesium supplements, magnesium citrate, magnesium glycinate,
right,
or different amino acids are formulated differently.
Yes.
So some of them are more effective than others for certain things. Yeah. So sometimes a toothpaste won't say hydroxyapatite, but its formulation is wonderful. It's great. It works. Toothpaste companies, or like on the label, will say hydroxyapatite now because it's become something that they are looking for that word.
Right. Okay. So, now I am looking for that word.
Just because you don't see hydroxyapatite doesn't mean it's a bad toothpaste. That's kind of what I'm trying to say.
How do we find out, though, if it's not on the label and we happen to like a certain, let's say I'm a Colgate person. I mean, I don't use Colgate, but let's just say that I love the taste of Colgate. I've always used this particular, but it doesn't say hydroxyapatite. How do I find out?
I would say it's probably fine. What I would do is take your Colgate that you love and then look it up on the RDA value. And you can just Google it.
Yeah.
RDA, it stands for relative dental abrasiveness.
Oh, interesting.
So that's like how abrasive, or like what's the sandpaper grit? What's your grit level of your toothpaste?
Okay. And what's the range for the RDA?
So it could be from zero. Oil, for instance, oil and water are zero. There's no abrasiveness.
Okay. Yes.
Right?
And you say had actually suggested brushing with olive oil.
You can do that if you'd like, but you won't have the benefit of calcium and phosphate.
Oh,
you won't be able to remineralize.
I see.
Okay.
Got it.
Now, RDA values above 200 are usually the whitening toothpaste. And those, I think most people should avoid that.
Okay. Why?
Whitening toothpaste works by basically sanding your tooth with sandpaper.
Oh, wow.
But more like polish. Right? So instead of using
fine
fine sandpaper, but it can get fairly coarse. And everyone's had I shouldn't say everyone, but some people have had the experience of brushing with toothpaste, whitening toothpaste especially. And all the companies have whitening toothpaste. You can find all the brands have whitening toothpaste. But the one thing that you will find, the pattern is that it's crunchy. It's really crunchy. It's unpleasant to keep that in your mouth. So that I think that we've kind of raised up a whole generation of rinsers now because they're like trying to rinse off all that crunch that they got from their
Raising
toothpaste.
rinsers. That's an alliteration for you.
Exactly. Yeah, right. But I think that there's some truth there.
Yes, right. And it makes sense because everyone wants white teeth. Now, the few times that I've tried whitening my teeth with a whitening toothpaste, I get what's called, and you told me about this as well, sloughing. So I don't use whitening toothpaste because of that. So can you explain what is sloughing?
Well, I'm not sure if we've got really good research about sloughing because there's so many other factors. Some people that have tissue type, like I use the analogy of fruit. So orange skin, an orange peel is very tough, right? Pomegranate even more. But some skin is very delicate, like a peach, right? Or a strawberry, very delicate skin. And there's also it's like a bell curve. Different people have different skin types.
In their gums, in their mouths.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Some have really delicate peach skin.
I see.
And
Fascinating.
some have really thick orange peel, skin.
Wow.
So if you've got a delicate skin type, you might be damaging your gums with not so much the toothbrush, although the toothbrush bristle is important. It's not quite as important as the abrasiveness of the toothpaste. Because of a study from Australia, a wonderful study showing the repetitive brushing motion on extracted teeth, teeth that have been basically mounted in a lab, and then they've got robots that are brushing day and night.
Wow.
And then they've got numerous types of brush tips, soft, firm, medium, and then they have numerous abrasiveness. And what they discovered that a toothbrush, maybe a medium or a firm bristle, not the soft, without any abrasiveness, like maybe oil or something that's very mild, like baking soda, for example, would not do any damage long term. Okay, but once you introduce the abrasiveness, like these whitening toothpaste, now you're starting to polish a little too much, and you're taking tiny little layers off over time. So this is a very important. It's an important point that if you're doing this twice a day for 20 years, you could really start to see an impact later on.
Like your teeth turn gray?
No, I would say like the chocolate layer, the abfraction. Oh, the edges of the abrasiveness at the
gum line.
Yep, right at the gum line. Yeah.
So you wouldn't see necessarily any change on the surface of the tooth.
Right.
It's at the gum line.
Well, I mean, enamel's very, very strong. It's like stone.
Oh, okay.
It's similar to glass. So it's not going to show the wear like you would see dramatic changes at the gum line where the edge of the enamel stops, and then you have the margin where it starts to the softer layer. We call it the chocolate layer because we're using the M&M analogy here.
Yes.
So the chocolate layer is very susceptible to those abrasive toothpastes, which whitening toothpaste is one of them.
So if you are using a whitening toothpaste and it has a high RDA level, 200 above, then you would just use a whitening toothpaste in short periods of time. Go back to a toothpaste with a low RDA that's softer on your gums, and then maybe you could do it for another, 2-3 weeks at a time. Yeah,
I mean, if you want to make your teeth have that squeaky clean, or like maybe you're going out on Friday night, you can use that whitening toothpaste to have an immediate effect, but over long term, probably not a good idea to do it over and over again.
Okay.
As your primary toothpaste.
Yes. Okay. That's gold advice for people.